Okay guys, we are here at Riverside Family Fitness. I know it doesn't sound hardcore, but hardcore is in your mind. So today we're gonna get into a back workout, but since some of you know who follow me, I tore my tricep like, been 3 months ago now. I'm just getting back to kind of hard training now, so we're not gonna be doing anything really heavy. So if you're watching this video for like hype purposes, it's probably not gonna get you hype. What we're trying to do today is, I'm gonna teach you the ins and outs of back training. Probably more than anything, I see back training done wrong. And usually for most beginners, it's the hardest body part to get right because you're kind of like, you can't see it. It's hard to feel because you don't really know how to feel things yet. So I'm gonna try and teach you guys some things to help you feel the muscle working and try and correct your form. So when you get in the gym, you can kind of formulate a good back workout for yourselves and get that barn door that you're looking for. Let's get to it. Okay guys, so a couple things. I'm gonna dispel one of the worst back myths that I've heard since day one. And that is that you have to use a wider grip for a wider back. So you see a lot of guys come in here and they say, I want a really wide back, so they grab the bar here like this. If your grip is too wide, you can't activate the lat properly, okay? So the lat, you have a teres major, minor, just under your armpit area. Underneath that, you have your lat that it runs all the way down to your hip. If your grip is too wide, you're really only gonna get that teres major, minor area, maybe the top of the lat, but you're not gonna get that lat width all the way into the hip. And what we really want as bodybuilders, or men's physique guys, or classic guys, is you want that taper, and that taper comes when those lats swing really low into the hip. So to get that, we have to narrow the grip a little bit, because at a shoulder width, now you can activate that lat from the top to the very bottom. So you see my grip is right where it bends here. So I'm getting a little width, but I'm not getting so far that I'm deactivating my lats. So if you're having problems activating your lats with a pull down, try bringing your grip in a little bit, see how it feels. One other thing you want to make sure you're doing when you're doing lat pull downs, you can see I'm kind of tilting back a little bit on each rep. That's okay, but you see some guys, they sway all the way back. One of the things you want to avoid doing when you're doing lat pull downs is leaning too far back on each rep. You want to keep your body as upright as possible. Obviously, you're going to move out of the way of the bar as it's coming down, but you want to keep your body as upright as possible to really activate that back. If you start leaning back too far, you're going to lose that lower lat activation. It's going to be more upper back. Okay, so if you're looking for the lat thickness in the bottom, keep yourself upright. Now, another thing you guys want to know, this is going to vary from person to person. My coach, John Meadows, will start his back workouts with a rowing exercise, usually Meadows rows. Usually for me, I always like to start my back workouts with a pull down exercise of some sort, either a reverse grip or wide grip, or even a close grip. But I feel starting with a pull down allows me to stretch out my back, kind of loosen up everything, loosen up my shoulder joints, so that when I get into the rowing stuff, everything is kind of ready to go. Because I can't go heavy, try to increase intensity by keeping the rest period short and adding intensity techniques like I did in the last set there. You saw I did a rest pause where I did my initial set, gave myself 5 to 10 seconds to rest, and then did another 4 or 5 reps to just really burn out the muscle. If you go in one day and you don't feel strong, it doesn't mean your workout has to be shit. It just means you have to have enough tools in the arsenal to keep the muscle activated and keep yourself, just drive that blood in there, right? So people ask me, how were you able to keep all your size even through the surgery and all that? And I still got in here and worked out. I just went really, really light and just made sure I was still driving blood. That way, I might not be gaining, but at least the muscle's not atrophying. So, learn more than one way to get a muscle to grow, because there's gonna be days where you don't come in here and you don't feel like deadlifting 6, 7 plates. On those days, you have to have other tools to activate the back and get yourself growing. Normally, my back workouts go like this: pull down movement, rowing movement, rowing movement, rowing movement, okay? Or they'll go pull down, row, pull down, row. Lately, I've been starting with 2 pull downs, and then I just go from there, because what I found is that since I can't go too heavy, I found if I really tax my back with the wide grip pull downs, then some reverse grip pull downs, when I get to the rowing stuff, I don't have to go as heavy to really feel that activation. So another way to pre-exhaust, I guess you could say, or get the muscle really warmed up for some heavy rows, do 2 pull downs before you start. All right, so a couple things. This seat, okay, make sure when you're sitting in here, you're not too low. So when I sit, my chest is in line with this pad. I could even be a little higher up. You don't want to be here, okay? Now, what's the reason? The reason I say that is, if you're too low, we're gonna have the same effect I was talking about over there. When you're rowing, you're gonna hit more of your teres and not enough of your lat. If you wanna get more of the lat, the lower lat, and really build that thickness, you need to be rowing into your chest or lower. Okay, you don't wanna row, like I said, if the seat is too low, you're gonna be rowing high and you're gonna build high. Always think, if I'm rowing low, I'm building low. If I'm rowing high, I'm building high. So we put the seat up so that when we row into our ribs. Last tip here. So a lot of people I see doing this will put 4 plates on the fucking thing, and you see them do this. That's not gonna do it, okay? You build your back from here to here. So when you're rowing, this is the point of most exertion, where your elbow goes here to here, okay? So when you're rowing, don't think that's a rep. That's not a rep, okay? If you're gonna do a half a rep, do the back half. This is a rep, okay? This is the most important part. That's the part that's gonna activate your back the most. not here. Okay, if you're gonna do half, do the back half, okay? So I always see, and that goes for any rowing exercise. Anytime you're rowing, anytime you're pulling down, doing stuff like that, the last half of the movement is the heaviest point of exertion. And furthermore, when you're pulling, don't pull with your hand, pull with your elbow. So in my mind, I picture my hand as like a meat hook. It's just hooked on there, but when I'm pulling from my elbow, right? If you pull from your hand, your forearm and your bicep will do more of the work. If you pull in your mind, if you pull from the elbow, your elbow is using your back to row, okay? So always pull from the elbows whenever you're doing any kind of rowing or pull downs. We're gonna go from some pull down stuff to some rowing stuff now. This is generally how my workouts go. Pull down movement, or a couple pull down movements into the row. Rowing movements are your bread and butter. Rowing movements are what's gonna separate you on stage from the rest of the guys, okay? When you're standing up there and you have a nice thick back, you turn around, that's gonna win you the show. Pull downs are not gonna win you the show. Rows, deadlifts, the hard shit is gonna win you the show. So, just because you're doing a row doesn't mean you're fucking doing it right. This exercise is probably one of the most wrongly done exercises that I've seen, okay? And it's usually because guys are standing up too high. So what I see is usually guys do this. I usually see guys standing like this, and then they'll do this. Okay, that's not gonna do anything. You have to, that's gonna build your traps. Maybe it's more like a shrug. You're gonna build your arms. If you wanna work, you gotta be bent over. You don't have to be 90 degrees, but I would say 60. If you watch Kai Green do him, he's 90, okay? I usually do him kind of bent over too, but you can go as high as 60 and still have a good contraction, okay? So one, you wanna be bent over. Two, don't row the weight into your chest. Row the weight into your lower abdomen, because again, we're trying to build our lower lats. So if you're rowing the weight up here, you're doing this, you're building your rhomboids, okay? If you want to build those lats underneath, you got to pull into your lower abs, okay? All right, so move from T-bar rows to Smith machine rows, barbell rows. It's a little bit different grip. You're gonna get a little bit different feel, but the principles are the same. You're gonna be 60 to 90 degrees bent over, number one. Number two, you're gonna pull with your elbows, like your hands are just hooks, okay? Number three, you're gonna pull into your lower abdomen because you're trying to build that lower lat up to give us the illusion of a really big frame from the front with a tiny little waist. Those are your three main keys. Now, the reason we're using Smith machine, a lot of you guys out there are not strong enough to do heavy barbell rows yet. But I see you doing them and you're struggling through them. Either you're not bent over far enough or you're jerking the weight or whatever, because you're more focused on your balance than you are on lifting the weight. So what the Smith machine is gonna do for you is it's gonna eliminate the problem of trying to keep your balance. The Smith machine will keep your balance for you. You just focus on your back. Okay, so those of you guys that are new and you haven't developed the strength in your hips or your legs or whatever to hold yourself up at a 60 to 90 degree angle when you're doing a 2 or 3 plate barbell row, the Smith machine's for you. Now, even some people, like a lot of top pros that have developed the strength to do barbell rows with free weight, still prefer the Smith machine because of exactly what I just said. You don't have to worry about anything except contracting your back. So when I want to get in here, and I don't want to I'm not trying to feed my ego, I'm just trying to work my back. I'm gonna get a better contraction here than I will out of the free weight barbell row, okay? That's just my opinion. You can still put 3 or 4 plates on a Smith machine and row hard and really get heavy weight on here. But more importantly, you don't have to worry about your balance, and you can really focus on just contracting the lats and getting a really good pump out of it. We're gonna finish with some seated cable rows. Like I told you, I think the key to good back development is rowing, okay? So this is gonna be our 3rd rowing exercise with T-bars. We did Smith machine barbell row. Now we're coming on to cable row. Now what we're gonna do is use a little bit wider grip than normal. We're gonna use a straight bar, okay? And we're doing that because I'm trying to emphasize my teres. I really wanna emphasize the outside of my lats. So we're gonna use a wider grip, okay? The same things apply here as with other movements. You wanna row with your elbows, okay? And you wanna row, because we're trying to work the lower lats, always trying to build the lower lats more than anything. Trying to build the lower lats, you're gonna row into your mid to lower abdomen. That's gonna work your lower lats, okay? If you are somebody who has big lower lats and you don't have any rhomboids or teres, your traps are small, your rear delts are small, then row up high, row up into your chest, you know? But most guys have a lot of upper back and they're lagging in the lower lat development area. That's why you see most of what we're doing is low lat development, because that's really what you need for that really impressive back. Okay. So what did you see that was different? The main thing is I used a reverse grip, okay? Most of the time on a cable row, people are using a parallel grip on like a close grip bar, or they're going overhand. I like to go underhand for the same reason we've been doing everything in here. Underhand is gonna activate my lower lats more, okay? So it's also gonna allow me to dig into my lower abs better. As you can see, when I was doing it, I wasn't pulling my body all the way back. I was pulling my elbows back. Okay, so one of the things I see wrong here is most people will row the weight, and as the weight is coming to them, they're leaning their whole body back. So their lats aren't actually getting any development because they're starting off like this, they're rowing back, they're kind of bringing their elbows forward, and then they're rowing back further. Their elbows really only traveled this far. What you want to do is reach, sit up a little bit, and row with your elbows all the way back. You want your elbows to travel from there to there. Okay, so that's back. Hope you guys learned something today. Try to give you guys as many tips for each exercise as I could. Wasn't heavy, obviously. I'm still recovering from a surgery, so I went as heavy as I could. But the thing you guys got to take away from this more than anything is, even though the poundages weren't there, the intensity was high. Now, sometimes you'll look at somebody train and you go, well, that guy's not lifting that heavy. Heavy is important, but it's not the only factor. If you have very high intensity, you can tax a muscle with moderate weight. And that's what I've been doing, really, because as you can see, the heaviest I went was the 2 plates or 3 plates on the T-bar, 2 plates on the barbell row. But I'm moving fast, okay? 30-second rest, 30-second rest, 30-second rest, and I'm back on it. So that intensity is gonna leave me sore tomorrow. And that's what a lot of you guys are missing. You guys You want the results, but you don't want to put in the time, and you don't want to put in the fucking effort it takes. You can't save yourself for only the good days, okay? Out of 1 month, I might have one record-breaking back day. The rest of them are good. One might be shit, but it's the shit workouts, believe it or not, that separate you. Because when I come in here and I feel like shit, this is the difference. Some people will come into the gym and they feel like shit, and they'll take the day off. I don't mean they'll leave. They'll come in here, they'll dick around, they'll fucking, you see them like kind of going through the motions, just so they can say they fucking worked out, and then they go home. The days I come in here and I feel like shit, those are the days I gotta turn it on. And I don't mean turn it on like, oh, I gotta force myself to squat 5 plates or force myself to deadlift 5 plates. No, I mean turn it on mentally. I know some days when I come in here, I'm gonna feel weak. And it's not, maybe I didn't sleep well the night before, maybe I didn't drink enough water, whatever. There's always a million variables. But for whatever reason, I'm here now, and I don't feel the fucking strength I should have. There's like 2 things you can do. You could fucking put your head down and mope about it. I used to have training partners like that. Oh, I don't feel strong today. This is fucking shit. Okay, what are you gonna do? You're gonna fucking cry about it? You're gonna go home? That's a waste of a day. For me, when I come in here and I feel like shit, I'm like, okay, I gotta turn it on. And you turn that fucking shit on mentally, and you pull tricks out of your fucking arsenal, like shorter rest periods, intensity techniques like rest pause, whatever the fuck it takes to make the workout count. Every fucking workout counts. So if you come in on your bad days and you decide that workout doesn't count, you might lose 50 workouts in a year. There's probably 50 days out of a year where I'm like, I feel like shit today. But you come in here and you fucking turn it on and go harder those days. At the end of the year, you'll be the difference. That'll be the difference when you're standing next to your fucking competition, because they took those fucking days off. All right, so that's the speech. I don't want to fucking bore you guys to death, but when you guys ask me how I got through it, the last 3 months after surgery, and I'm still getting through it now without being able to train heavy, this is how. I forced myself to go harder knowing that I have a handicap. So I have to go fucking harder to make sure my body stays where it's at least and doesn't go backwards. And that's what you guys got to do when you come in. You don't feel great. Oh, I don't feel great. Oh, I'm tired. Oh, fucking. You got to fucking flip that switch. Anyway, until next time, guys, thanks for watching. Check out the podcast, The Real Bodybuilding Podcast, on my channel. It's on iTunes, Spotify, SoundCloud. Check out hosstile.com for any fucking merchandise. Gas, official. Use my code, Fouad15. And yeah, until next time, man, sacrifice without regret and train your fucking asses off.